CEO Patrick Byrne knows firsthand how government regulations can strangle a business. He runs Overstock.com, and few CEOs have been as vocal as Patrick in defending the free market from government interference. Tonight he says, don't be fooled by the title of this proposal, American Jobs Act. O.co, as it's now known, CEO, formerly known as Overstock.com, Patrick Byrne. Patrick, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Freedom Watch.
It's my honor, Your Honor. What a great honor to be on your show.
Thank you. You know the basics of what the president wants to do. He wants to raise taxes on everyone in the country who earns more than $250,000 in a year, and he wants to take that money and spend it on building bridges and schools that the government doesn't even own, that are owned by the state and local governments, and he wants to give money to the state and local governments to hire teachers. How can that possibly produce prosperity or jobs that will last longer than the appropriations from Congress that will pay for them?
Yeah, it reminds me, to be honest, of the old Popeye cartoon of the character who'd say, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger I can have today. There's no real economic thinking going on here that I can tell, and I hate to be a bayonet the wounded guy, but this is just more tinkering. You know, I know that you know Friedrich Hayek. You've talked about him. You've mentioned him on your show. Right. He referred to the economics professors and a certain university as tinkerers. They saw the economy like a big engine, and they were tinkerers with little screwdrivers. They thought they could fine-tune a tax credit here, a special tax there, a tax, and that they were going to fine-tune this great big engine. It isn't just that the policies are misguided, but the whole vision from which they spring is really a bad and I think pernicious vision of how the economic world works.
Because the vision from which they spring presumes that the government can borrow or acquire through taxation $500 billion and spend it in such a way as to produce more prosperity than the private sector could spend it. You're a philosopher as well as a businessman. If history has taught us anything, is it not that only the real risk of investors produces prosperity, whereas the government just consumes wealth?
Right. You have it exactly. They have this vision that the government's job is to distribute. It's as if they assume that everything is owned by the state, and then the state gets to decide how to distribute it. And we're going to have, a tax credit for this, a tax credit to make your bed, a special tax on this. All these different things, it springs from their vision that it's all theirs to distribute. It's very questionable. The constitutionality of this thinking really entered our government about 75 years ago. It's really questionable to me how this can be synthesized with the framers' intent. And I think that most importantly for present circumstances is it doesn't work. It's not going to work. We report 9% inflation now. If we reported the numbers the way we did under the beginning of Bill Clinton, it's called U6 is the measure. It's about 16, 17%. If we reported the numbers the way we counted them 50 years ago, we'd be at 23% unemployment. And on an apples-to-apples basis in the Great Depression, we were about 34.
Wow.
So, I mean, things are really bad, and none of this is all just window dressing. It doesn't make any sense economically.
We only have about 30 seconds. What's the best thing the government can do? I say, get out of the way. Cut taxes.
Get out of the way.
Stop regulating. Let the engine of the free market succeed.
Well, you got to have revenue side and you got an expenditure side. The revenue side is they should dramatically simplify the tax code, a simple flat tax, maybe it's 20%, and if you want it to be progressive, then combine it with a negative tax, so another Milton Friedman creation, a negative tax but a flat tax. Right. And then on the expenditure side, they should go to private, they should privatize things like school vouchers and such instead of just building bigger government monopolies.
Patrick Byrne from Overstock.com, what a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Judge.
As the saying goes, no good deed goes unpunished. Find out what happens in some places in America if you dare to help your peers when the police can't or won't. The disturbing reality in my